Hello, welcome to Go Home Heat. We are doing another episode of Ray's Music Reviews, and this is a segment of Ray's Music Reviews called Blank's Favorites. Today we are doing one of my favorites, the British classic. Whatever people say I am, that is what I am not. I should get into the...
Hi, I'm KP.
This is KP. This is Jared.
I'm Jared. Arctic Monkeys.
So should we get into the backstory of the band?
Let's do it.
Yes.
Arctic Monkeys are a British band made up of frontman Alex Turner, guitarist Jamie Cook, bassist Nick O'Malley, but at the time of recording this album, it was actually Andy Nicholson, and the drummer Matt Helders. The band's career is kind of interesting to me. Their debut album is the fastest-selling debut album in the history of... I was about to call it Britland, but that's not.
That's not quite right.
The UK.
The UK, yes.
United Kingdom.
It hit a 300...
Queensville.
It hit 360,000 copies within its first week.
Which is crazy in a country that produced the Beatles and Oasis.
It's...
The numbers on that are kind of insane, actually.
That could have something to do too with the way you count.
Yeah.
Well, that could also do.
But that's still crazy.
Well, that could also do
absolutely.
with the fact that everyone heard. I bet that you look good when on the dance floor, and when that came out, everyone was like I just did like a PogChamp face.
Hey, this slaps.
Yeah, I just did like a PogChamp face.
Yes, but unfortunately, you have to like have some kind of saying. With
yeah. Which in this album many consider to be their best album. Their sophomore album, Favorite Worst Nightmare, sold well too and is also considered many to be a classic and their best album. Their third album, Humbug, was produced by Josh Homme of Queens of the Stone Age fame. And it's
Them Crooked Vultures.
It's more of a fan favorite rather than a classic. I don't really know where to kind of put that in.
The Pinkerton of their discography.
That's not true at all, actually. That's like two completely different things. Suckin' and See is their most critically and universally panned album. AM was actually weird because it's where they got popular in the U.S.
Oh yeah, when this album came out, it was everywhere.
Which is super strange because they sold 306,000 copies in 2006. It's kind of weird that they hit their critical peak, at least in America, with their fifth studio album.
Well, I will say that especially the album we listened to, their first one, it is very British. Yeah, so it's not... It definitely does not translate as well over here. AM has a lot more moody, generalized party-ish songs, you know what I mean?
Yeah, which made it a big hit. And do you guys think AM will be considered a classic as time goes on? It may not.
I think some songs off of it will be in best of 2010s playlist for pretty
specifically
much
the first two.
For the rest of time.
Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino is good. It's weird because that's actually where a lot of fans left because they checks notes, tried something new and interesting. Tranquility Base might be my favorite album of theirs that I listen to. I love the moodiness of it.
You're into new and interesting.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
One thing that I do like Tranquility Base, I do agree with the criticism that a lot of it can tend to be just like kind of an ego trip for Alex Turner.
Yeah.
In a weird way, where it's just like him. I imagine that this song was just made for him to do like Elvis poses on
Okay,
stage.
Here's a counterpoint.
Wait.
It has a song. Okay, you go first.
That's a bad thing?
Yeah.
Dude.
I do an Elvis pose every morning at some point.
Dude. So does Danzig.
Yes.
Okay, here's
in
counterpoint.
the leopard print silk pajamas. Yes.
Counterpoint, Tranquility Base has a song called The World's First Ever Monster Truck Front Flip.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Counterpoint,
nothing.
the first album has a song called You probably couldn't see me because of the lights, but you were staring straight at me.
Yeah, you're right.
Brevity is not their thing in titles.
Well, that was just like a thing within the. You'll notice if you go through more of this era, that was just kind of a thing in the 2000s indie scene, where
Long
they just
titles.
have absurdly long name titles.
They have a lot of ideas.
The latest I can remember is the worst, at least, version of it I can remember is Brand New's Deja Intendu, where there's a song. The biggest hit off of it was called "The Quiet Things That No One Ever Knows." There's another song on there called "I Believe You, But My Tommy Gun Don't." Like, it's just super.
If your song title includes a comma, it might be too long.
But yeah, I'm probably going to just end up talking about the album. The album starts up. If I had to describe, I'm gonna cut this album from first half and second half.
Mm-hmm.
If I have to describe the first half, it would be anthemic, at least in one word. This is perfectly kind of echoed within the first song, "The View from the Afternoon,"
Mm-hmm.
where it's clever songwriting, interesting song passages, where you notice how the song kind of stops at the end, and then it hits back up. And I like this song because if you listen to it with headphones, one guitar ring happens in the other ear, and it's really unique and interesting. And I feel like that's kind of what this album does, and does very well, is that it sets up. Every song is unique in its own way, but also tying into the overall scheme of the album, to where, like, you'll see, like, "I Bet That You Look Good on the Dance Floor," where instead of giving you a bit of a rest after that, it kicks you right back into the fire. And it just... everything is so good at once, at least within the first half. Now, the second half, which we'll talk about later... Oh.
I did, like, Riot Van would be the start of the second half, do you think?
Riot Van, yes. Riot Van, to me, is the distinct line between the first half and the second half. But I'm going to talk about a little more about the first half.
Does that make it the first song of the second half, or the second...
First song.
Last song of the first half.
No, first song of the second half is Riot Van.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And instead of...
That's where you flip the tape.
Everything can really be done well within the first side, whether it's Fake Tales of San Francisco, with the songwriting that would be kind of echoed within the second half, or Dancing Shoes adding new flavors and textures that would be furthered within the album, or Still Take You Home just kind of ruling. Everything works within the context of the album. Now, when we get into the second half, Riot Van, arguably the most important song of the album, to where it's a very needed song within the album, because it does kind of take a chill pill and let the songwriting kind of show, which I do like them a lot about it. And then it is, again, I said, it is the distinct line between the first and second half. And then, when Red Lights Indicate That the Doors Are Secured hits, that's a song title. It's just this kind of burst of flavor, but it's also kind of a darkened version of the first half, where it's more angry, it's more powerful, and it's more kind of spiteful. And then it dials back again with Marty Bum, where it's more of just kind of a relatable story, where it does let the songwriting show. This album, it's chaos, but it has organized chaos. And then it hits Perhaps the Vampires Are a Bit Strong, but arguably, certainly one of my favorites on the album. It's so angry, and it is just kind of that realization that you don't like any of the people that you are sitting around, which
Did I go through that all the time?
Currently.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in the middle of that song.
That was
right
the
now.
most obvious joke you could have made.
I do like the bitterness of this song quite a bit, though.
And that instrumental look between the middle, where it's kind of like almost the drums are almost tribal, and it's just all
thumping,
kind
driving.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It all just kind of works together, and then when the sun comes down hits, and that, of course, When the Sun Comes Down is a classic, but I do think it is very, not really relatable, but kind of more just shows how, like, oh, we were having fun, but this is actually kind of awful. Because we've all just kind of, at least at some point, looked at, like, but, like, seen someone and went, God, what, like, happened to you?
Yeah.
I don't know. I wish I could help you, but what
caused you to be who you are?
not that.
What circumstances led to your current situation?
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of that feeling embodied to, and it's just incredible. And then From Ritz to Rubble hits, which, oh my god. What a song. It's almost like, it's like it starts off with just this spoken word thing, not spoken word, but is singing without any instrumentals, and then instrumentals hit, and all of a sudden you're kind of like building this like empire with your song, and then once you come back again, you just break down that empire within the same song, and then it kind of shows within like how the bass line just stays in. And this is probably a thing with like the whole album, where they just kind of looked at something normal and went, no, that's not enough. They could have just done a regular, not blast beat segment, but then they added the guitar riff and everything, but there's always a logical build-up to that chaos, to where it is organized. The explosion feels deserved. And I feel like that is perfectly exemplified in From Ritz to Rubble. And then we hit the final song, A Certain Romance, which arguably one of, if not my favorite song on this album. There's something so gorgeous about it, and the way that this whole album is kind of pummeling you in a way. And then this final song, whilst, yes, it is still explosive, is kind of laying you down nicely and calmly. There's something so gorgeous about that, and it's hard to describe with anything except for listening to the song. And I feel like the song puts a nice bow around the album.
I think the last three songs probably are my favorite stretch of the album. That's kind of when I enjoyed the album the most, was just the not exactly melancholy, but the just kind of sad, almost sadder in a lot of ways. Look at the world.
And I feel like
something I vibed with.
And I feel like, well, with this specifically, I feel like the first half is kind of needed, because it is kind of the thing where, while we're having fun, we're not really focusing on the real problems. So I feel like it is super needed within that thing. But also, I might even argue I would agree that the last three, if not even the last four, are probably the greatest moment of this album. Should we get into the questions?
I agree. No, I agree with that last statement you said, though. You're spitting facts. But as for the questions,
Should we get in?
Sure.
you could do I kind of want to do favorite track,
Favorite song?
because I would like to hear that.
Favorite song?
Yeah,
Least favorite
what's
song?
your favorite song?
If I had to pick some, it'd be The View from the Afternoon, I Bet That You Look Good on the Dance Floor, Still Take You Home, perhaps The Vampires Are a Bit Strong, but When the Sun Comes Down, From Ritz to Rubble, A Certain Romance.
Yeah, that last stretch of songs quite good.
Yeah.
What about you, KP?
I like Marty Bum.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good, especially songwriting-wise,
It's different
Yeah.
from the rest of it.
to where, well, yeah, but so, like, what do you mean it's different from the rest of it?
just a little bit different. The
Okay.
melody's a
No,
little different.
I agree because it's more in a lot of ways like home based, if that makes sense. And a lot of the rest of the album is talking about going out on the town and all that, and this is more of a you come home, your significant others in a.
It also
grouchy
sounds
mood.
a little bit like Cake. Remember the band Cake?
It does sound a little bit like Cake, doesn't it?
You know, which is a
Strange.
a variance of the rest of the rest of it can rotate between punk and things similar to that, and this has a little bit of that plus something else, you know, which is interesting to me. Although I like the rest of it just fine. Yes, sir. What about yours?
Probably From the Ritz to the Rebel, just because I enjoyed the songwriting and the overall, like you were saying, the spoken word bit. Neo's pseudo spoken word bit.
Is it From the Rips to the Rebel? I always call it From Ritz to Rebel.
From the Ritz to the Rebel is what it's listed as on Genius. I love the beginning line. The other one's a scary in his way or no way totalitarian. I just love the way he says that.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like the kind of posturing that he describes throughout the rest of the song. So I think that would probably be my favorite track.
Least favorite? I don't necessarily have one.
I will say that I enjoyed the second half of the album a lot more than I enjoyed maybe the first half. But I don't think there was any song that I'm just like, ugh. No, I mean, the first half of the album's like fun. And there's like nothing I can really point out as like, oh, I don't like this.
I agree. There's nothing negative going on there. It's all good.
There was just stuff I liked more.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not a long listen.
Yeah, no,
You know
there's
what I mean?
again, never a moment where I'm like, ugh, I gotta listen to this song, because all the songs are short, too.
And I will say this, I probably did miss the mark because I might like Favorite Worst Nightmare a little better than this.
Fair.
But I feel like I went for this one mainly because it is kind of the classic.
It's the original. The Genesis.
I also like perhaps Vampires is a bit strong, but
Yeah.
and the San Francisco song's dope.
Yeah, mainly because of the way it kind of...
I did enjoy the San Francisco song.
The Fake Tales of
Fake Tales of San Francisco, where he's describing like this music guy who sucks.
Yeah.
And I love that song mostly because of the line about proving that love is not only blind but also deaf.
Right.
It's so cutting.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a smart, good line. That
Right.
And mainly because...
Oh, he's clever. The writer's clever.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of the strengths of the album is he's able to describe a situation both literally and also emotionally.
Right.
Where he talks about he's not just describing literally what's happening, he's also conveying the mood of what's happening and how people are feeling in that situation.
Absolutely.
Which I think is unique and cool.
And there's a bit of humor along with the, like you said, the actual description of storytelling.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
both of those are in there.
The little cuts of humor are always...
Sarcasm.
Yeah. It's good.
The
line
greatest
from,
gift our Lord gave us was sarcasm.
Honestly. The line from Riot Van where he's talking about the officer's like, are you old enough to be drinking? He's like, is there a certain age I'm supposed to be? it's stuff like that. Just,
yeah. Yep.
The whole Riot Van song, honestly. I agree with what you were saying about that being a turning point, like a major turning point of the album. I feel like most of the first chunk of the album's like talking about partying, talking about the emotions you feel when you're doing that, trying to find some lady, wanting to go talk to her or whatever. And then Riot Van comes along and it's just like, it's almost describing why you're doing it. Why are you rebelling against societal standards? Why are you going out partying? Man, that's just how I feel. That's what I want to do. I want to make jokes at the police. I want to go out and have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, also, and like you probably couldn't see, like that Lights song, he talks about this instance where he wants to talk to a girl, but he keeps stuttering. Right, so
Yes.
It is kind of like the first half is kind of like a thin veil.
Yeah, and then the second half kind of pulls it back and you see kind of the uglier side of it, which I thought was neat.
So are we ready to rate it?
Yes.
Jared, what'd you think, Jared?
I will go first, and I'm thinking I'm gonna give it somewhere in between a 7 and an 8, somewhere in there. Again, I like the second half of the album so much, and I do enjoy the first half, but I just the second half is the gold mine to me.
Right. I'm gonna give it a 7, but I do think that first of all, I think I'm gonna go back to this often. I like it. And
a lot of the songs are earworms.
Right.
So I'm absolutely going to be.
And so the thing where I've listened to it, it's hard when you're not incredibly familiar with something, and you listen to it 4 times in a week, twice in a row, and then you go back and listen to it a 5th time.
Yeah.
And that's not the same thing as this came out and I listened to it over the course of 4 months or 6 months or 8 months. You know what I mean? Which is not fair to the record at all.
Yeah.
To be honest. Ray, what did you think?
Like a 9 or a 9.5, only because I like Favorite Worst Nightmare better, in a way that it's more. It is like many people say. A lot of people say it's faster, which it is kind of weird because it has slower songs, but it has like faster moments. And I think I just think Favorite Worst Nightmare is overall kind of better.
Would you rate Favorite Worst Nightmare a 10?
Personally, yes.
Oh, see, because there's not much higher you can get from 9.5 without just immediately giving it a 10.
Personally, I would give Favorite Worst Nightmare a 10, and 505 is their best song. Just fight me.
Just ever?
Like it's just their best song.
Fair
like
enough,
it's
fair enough.
Arguably, if it counts as a ballad, I don't know if it counts as a ballad, but it's arguably one of my favorite. Well, Limousine exists. Is Limousine a ballad? I don't know. Limousine, it's kind of... But speaking of Limousine, I got some... speaking of brand new, I got some gifts from Christmas.
Yeah.
So you want to go over what we've been listening to, my friend?
What I've been listening to?
Which includes your gifts from Christmas.
I would assume that was the segue, as they call it in the biz.
Yes. I got this one from I got this one from my aunt, The Joshua Tree by U2. Classic.
We covered it.
Talk.
Quite good.
Ad
really
nauseum.
Maybe you talked ad nauseum.
Really good album.
Yes.
In the Court of the Crimson King. Again, classic.
Classic. Only gets better. Like fine wine.
People love it more and more each day. As well they should.
Honestly, again, man, that album.
King Crimson.
Also,
dude.
I Talk to the Wind is incredibly underrated.
Yes. Facts.
And is one of the most gorgeous songs I've ever heard.
It's phenomenal.
Yes.
Again, when I listened to it, I was familiar with 21st Century Schizoid Man.
Of course.
Well, because I like Kanye West, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But as I got more into prog, I listened to the whole album. I had to find it somewhere because it wasn't on Spotify for a really long time. But it's great. If you like prog, if you like music, give it a shot.
I also got arguably my favorite album ever, Brand New's The Devil and God is Raging Inside of Me. I showed this to my cousin, and he called it Home Alone 3. My cousin is Nick, by the way.
The album
Lit
cover
Nick.
has 2 masked dudes and then like a little girl standing off to the side. It actually does kind of look like a Home Alone.
Yeah, if they're about a killer.
Yeah, they look a little more dangerous than the what were they, the Wet Bandits from Home
Something
Alone.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, Limousine's arguably my favorite song ever. This whole album is just kind of golden in a way that is, at least I've never heard before. And I also will take in a hot take. Should every album on the MU Essential boards be considered a classic?
It depends because I enjoy most of them, so I can't actually be like, oh, that's no.
What's
I love
an
all
MU
of them.
Essential Board?
An MU it was 4chan's music site. It's probably the best part of 4chan.
A lot of the albums that are popular amongst, especially my generation, that go back to stuff like In the Airplane Over the Sea, that kind of
The Glow Part 2.
The Glow Part 2.
The Devil and God are Raging Inside Me.
Albums that I really, really like.
In the Court of the Crimson King.
Yeah. Stuff like that where it's like, I don't know how exactly
Popular
to describe
Outline.
Yeah, popular online stuff.
That's an interesting question to me because a classic is a thing that stands the test of time. And if it's on the MU Essential boards, it will stand the test of time because someone's going to go back to the MU Essential boards and go, hey, let's listen to that. Is that like a thing?
Yeah, self-fulfilling in a way.
Is the MU Essential boards basically a certified classics thing?
I guess we shall have to see. What else have you been listening to?
What else have I been listening to? I tried out one song from Flower Traveling Band. I remember because someone... I actually found out this album because of the MU Essential board. I don't go on MU. Mainly because it's 4chan.
That's poisonous.
But I look at the Essential board on, like, Google. Someone called them Asian Led Zeppelin, which I think is kind of not fair, but not exactly untrue. It does sound a lot like Led Zeppelin. But if you want something that sounds like Led Zeppelin, and you're kind of listen to everything Led Zeppelin has done, I'd recommend it. You know,
and you're not digging on Greta Van Fleet.
This is so much better than Greta Van Fleet. Listen, all right, this just kind of sounds like Led Zeppelin. Greta Van Fleet just rips off Led Zeppelin, just completely. Dude, they rip off Led Zeppelin more than Wolfmother did, dude.
Wolfmother. Love Wolfmother.
That's such a dope name.
Yes.
I'll give him that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Led Zeppelin was also a wicked cool name.
Right.
Well, Wolfmother.
Right.
Wolfmother. I've never heard of. I don't listen to Wolfmother because I don't They never appealed to me. But when I heard one of their songs, I never heard a dead ringer for a Led Zeppelin song.
No, that dude just has a similar voice to Robert. He's still got that high.
Yeah, they got like
the story with Zepp though. And there's an argument as to whether or not it's true. Is that Keith Moon saw him and said, basically, they're going to go down like a Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there's an argument.
Are you talking about Wolfmother?
No, Led Zeppelin. There's an argument to the truth in that, but it's still such a great
dude,
name.
Especially because it's misspelled.
Then the Hindenburg going down in
yes.
the
and it's
dope.
misspelled.
Perfect.
Every
band should always misspell the words in their name.
It makes it super easy to identify them from like a phrase. What band? The Who.
Right.
They should have spelled it. I don't know.
H-U.
That's a different band actually. That was actually I did listen to The Who, the space H-U, because they put out a cover of Metallica's "Sad But True."
You said you liked it.
I liked it quite a bit.
Right. What else did you listen to?
Okay. It's been the news of Christmas. Not really. Playboy Cardi, Whole Lot of Red. Now...
Big on Reddit.
No, it's not big. Actually, it's panned on Reddit.
Is it really?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, people have waited a really long time for Whole Lot of Red.
People liked Die Lit, which I thought Die Lit was
It's got
fine.
It's got a dope album cover and name. I'll give it that much.
I started listening to it ironically, then I started listening to it unironically, and then I kind of stopped listening to it.
Yeah.
But, dude... They should have got a different producer for Whole Lot of Red, man. Like,
you think so? You didn't like the production on it?
But there was one beat that was alright. It sampled Bon Iver, but it does reek of Kanye. But there's actually one song with Kanye. It's not that great. It's just really underwhelming.
Yeah, considering it's been like three-ish years since Dilate came out, to have a project be so hyped up and then release it and it's just not great. It's always
dude, wait 2 months. People are going to start calling it underrated.
Such is the cycle of the internet.
All right. What'd you listen to, Jared?
A couple bands I put out music that I thought was quite good, including King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
Boom.
Put out a song, If Not Now Then When, which I really liked. I still haven't listened to the album they put out this year, but this song in particular was awesome. I really like King Gizzard. JPEG Mafia put out song Super Tuesday. I really liked it. Peggy doesn't really do bad.
People call All My Heroes and Cornballs a disappointment. I don't get them.
Come on, man. But dude, Peggy puts out really
abrasive.
It's abrasive, but it's I don't know, man. He just hits the right notes.
I especially like the song. The song Beta Male Strategies.
Grimy Waifus, also a favorite. Again, it's ridiculous. Run the Jewels put out a song with Royal Blood, which I know Royal Blood because, you know Finn Balor's theme?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a rip-off of one of their songs.
I like Royal Blood.
Royal Blood is quite good.
They rock out. Yeah.
So the Run the Jewels Royal Blood crossover, quite good.
Oh, yeah.
There was one more. The Comet is Coming put out a single with a couple other people. I really like their album that came out last year, and this is kind of almost more of the same. It's just, I don't know how exactly to describe it. It's jazz adjacent, though.
What's the name again?
The Comet is Coming.
Okay.
Their album, Believe in the... Oh, shoot. Let me look that up real quick. What did you listen to, KP?
Me, I listened to, scored a record at Revolver Records on 12th Avenue. We talk about them ad nauseum.
Yes.
Wonderful friends of the show.
It's nice there.
Yes, and I scored a Black Pumas album, and it is off the chain. It is some form of a jazz funk mixture thing that I really liked. And then I went back and got an old album that I had on disc from Prince called The Rainbow Children, and it is a jazz album by Prince with inserts of, he will periodically utilize a computerized deep voice of doom over the course of things, and that is a thread through the record. It's pretty amazing. Actually,
one of his more controversial records.
It'd be an amazing record, because like I know, like when I talked to my cousin, the drummer, he was like, dude, the drumming on that record is like crazy. It's just crazy how good the drumming on that record is. And and then when I listened to it, because of what he said, I started imagining what it would be like without any of the verses at all, like with no speaking whatsoever. If it was just an instrumental, it would be absolutely incredible. And then not that what he was doing with the lyrics works and it's fine, or it works for me and it's fine. I think a lot of the controversy may have been in that part.
Well,
but by the same token, it works for me, so I don't. But like I said, I told him. I said
I don't care what you people think.
No, I told
Screw you.
I told Brandon.
I hate other opinions.
I told Brandon that I would kill for an instrumental version of that record. It's probably coming. You know how they do things.
Oh yeah.
This one was an expensive redo. They'll probably sell it again for and I almost bought an Iron Maiden live album, but somebody wouldn't let me.
It's $60, and you already have one.
It's just a lot of money.
There's
for a
different
record.
songs on it.
Let him live his dreams, Ray.
Oh, there was a poster in it.
Wait, why do you get to dictate how he spends his money?
Right. He said that's $60. Can I have this rare issue of Bleach, please, with a whole book inside of it?
That was like 30.
9.
I also listened to some more Green River.
Okay.
Phenomenal CCR album. It's
Good
so
deal.
good for driving music.
It is.
Should have listened to more Green Day.
Yeah, I should have, instead of Green River.
Well, you got to keep them in your top 5.
I might actually, out of spite, not listen to any Green Day for the next year.
Spotify will start sending you emails.
You're right. I wasn't planning.
Spotify will start sending you emails. What's going on? You're not listening to Green Day.
Are you okay? They're going to get concerned for me.
Oh, speaking of stuff like that, so this is a wrap. Next, we are doing arguably, probably not even arguably, my favorite metal album ever, System of a Down's Toxicity.
So they don't suck.
No.
Dang, I had heard so much about how they sucked, and now...
For like the first 12 episodes. Then we got away from our joke.
The heel turn. Or face turn?
Face turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved... This is one of the only albums that I like. System of a Down's probably the only band that I have liked post nu metal thing. Still like. I didn't like Deftones when I was in a nu metal thing. I don't know. I thought they were weird. Like Slipknot. I still have a soft spot in my heart for Iowa. Korn kind of sucks. A lot of their stuff. Everything from except for their debut album isn't that great. But System of a Down always stood out. Dude, it's crazy because System of a Down were the only good band I was into in that period. I didn't even like Linkin Park that much, which is super weird.
But your tastes change and mature over time. Except for System of a Down. System of a Down always rules. Always.
Yeah, always. Just
It's the through line in music tastes is that everybody likes System of a Down.
yeah, it's 3 bands that I've always loved from I can remember were My Chemical Romance, System of a Down, Brand New. Those are the 3 bands that have always stuck with me. So anyways, System of a Down, Toxicity we are doing next. Signing off for
KP.
Jared.
and me, Green Day Jared.
Green Day Jared.
Arctic Monkeys KP. Arcade Fire. KP.
Arcade Fire. Fire.
And
Go ahead, production.
Ray
Copyright,
Tatooine.
copyright 2020.
signing off. Whew. Great joke.